Hi everyone, I'm going to walk through the Fusion electronics tutorial that we worked on previously in class so that you can repeat the process and get really good at it. When we're done, we're going to have these different files so that we can either use them in a different Fusion design or that we can actually send this to the mill and cut out a PCB. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is go to my folder that I want to work in. I'm going to choose my student folder, and if you have not already, create an electronics folder. From there, you should create a new folder for each electronics design. So I'm going to just call this electronics tutorial. All right. So I'm going to work within here. So I'm going to open up this and I'm going to create a new design. These are done. I don't want to get confused with any of these, so I'm going to close these so we don't get confused by what folder I'm working in. All right, so once I have my new design open, I need to go to my file icon and go down to New Electronics Design. All right, we are ready to go. So the first step is to save this. I'm going to say that electronics design is totally fine. And I can see that it's saved in my electronics tutorial. So save. All right, this file is going to be the hub that contains and links all of our other files. We don't really actually do any work in this file. It just links all of our other files that we are going to create now. So I'm going to go to this icon up in the top left. It's New Schematic, and I'm going to open that. And right away, first thing I'm going to do is just save it, and it'll save in that same location, and it's just going to save as schematic, and I'm happy with that. All right. We have the ability to work with all libraries. There's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of parts. I don't recommend that because some of them are not the correct parts that you're looking for. You should have access to the AT library. We learned how to get access to that in class. If you didn't do that, make sure you ask and I can show you. All right, so I'm going to be working in the AET library. These are all custom parts that I made for us that are going to work well for our designs and for soldering. Grid settings with the schematic, it's not as important, but I do want to have my grid settings, so I'm going to turn on the display. The size should be 0.1 inches. That's a standard dimension for electronics. All right, so I got my grid, and I want to build the really simple two terminal, so a positive and a ground terminal, a resistor, a button, and an LED. So I can see here, oh, I need a button. So I'm going to click. We either have the 12 millimeter button, the bigger one that I showed in class, or the smaller one that we've been using. For this example, I'm just going to use the smaller one. So I'm going to select that. I see that it says 6, and that's 6 millimeters. And I click this, and I start dragging it over. And I'm going to click and drop it, and then push escape. Now, right now, I'm just selecting all my pieces. I'm going to organize them in a little bit. An LED, it really doesn't matter which color you choose. They're all the same. It's just for looks. So I'm going to drag that over, drop it, escape. I'm going to look for a resistor. There are the 11.7 millimeters, but we're going to use the 7.2. All right, so I'm going to select that, click there, drag it over, drop it. Now you could use the 1x1, but I found that when you're soldering, it's pretty delicate and it could break the soldering connection. So just to get that extra connection, I'm going to click that and I'm going to use the 3x3. It just gives more support. All right, so those are all the components I need. And now I'm going to start arranging these. So let's go, let's say this is going to be our positive. We'll go resistor, we'll go button, and then LED. So this LED is oriented in the correct direction. I do want to turn this around. I found that that's better. So I'm going to click the rotate icon, and then you just click, click, and then escape. And that looks good. All right. The resistor, I also have to rotate that. So I'm just going to click, and that looks great. Now everything is in the correct orientation. Oh, I didn't mean to drag that, so I can just go back. You have to click on this. It's called the handle. It's the little cross. I missed it again. It's that little cross right there. I could put this above if I want to. Now, this is just our schematic, so this doesn't have to do with our layout. I'm going to move everything so it's centered on that center mark right there. And then I'm going to connect this. Okay, so I'm going to make my connection with what's called a net. So here I'm going to go out to my LED, and I don't like how it's not aligned, so I'm going to move off of that, and I'm going to move this over there. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go back to my net, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit better. I'm going to connect this one to here, this one to here. All right, remember, these are called nodes. That means there is a connection between this this wire here and this wire here. So let's move this to align this a little bit better. Maybe about right there. Remember, this is just a diagram. The actual layout that we do here doesn't affect how our layout will be on our actual PCB. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drag this out up to the LED, and then I'm going to make these connections. So that looks good. Over there, over there. All right, and I'm done with this. So I'm going to save. And so that is my schematic. I'm going to slide this over so it looks a little bit more symmetric. That's just for me. It doesn't matter, but I like when it looks nice and easy to read. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to save this document. I'm going to stop this part of the tutorial, and I'm going to continue it in another video. All right, so right now we have our schematic, and we're ready to push this into our PCB layout. All right.